Hello, Lunas here, and welcome back to the channel. We'll be continuing the Rimworld run today. So during the last episode, we managed to get some more ship parts and upgrade the ship. We've landed at a new location at which we will resupply and make sure that we have enough range to get to the next ship quest. Although they are quite a long way to the south. To prepare the ship for the next phase of its journey, we'll be working on upgrading the distance it can travel even further, and to do so we are going to need fuel. So a few trees for the time being will be cut around the ship, although this is mainly to clear the land for some building space. Some nearby hill root will be harvested, as well as some berries, as we don't have much vegetarian food at the moment, and I'd like to be able to have at least enough to turn the meat into pemmican before it rots. Now that tree is back at full health as well, we will attempt another installation of a peg leg to replace her destroyed leg. The gas operation research also finishes, and the next one will be probably the multi-analyzer, just to increase the speed of how quickly things are getting researched. A small steel building slightly to the east of the ship will be deconstructed for some materials, as well as to prevent any raiders from being able to take cover there when attacking us. Tree's operation has been successful, and her peg leg has been installed with no issue. Some additional trees are cut down to make way for some defensive structures. The traps on the eastern front are planned out, and they are fairly well fortified, with the goal being to stay on this map tile as long as possible. The colony is low on steel, especially after building these new defenses, and we will need plenty to upgrade the ship as well. The defenses are being finished up, and some areas for chunks to be hauled to and corpses to be hauled to have been set up. Crafter's mood is fairly low, and this is mostly due to the death rest exhaustion, something which we may have to deal with sooner than later. As such, we will switch the research projects. The next phase will be to begin growing crops, mostly around food though this time. The following day, the potato field is worked on some more, and a quest becomes available. So the Waster pirates have set up a camp guarded by 3 troops, and they want us to provide 6 soldiers to carry out an attack on them. The only issue is that I'm not too interested in the rewards other than the honor, but we also don't have the facilities to have our people. We don't have the facilities to have a throne room or this space either. So honor's kind of useless at the moment. And I don't want the specialized limbs. And we only have 10 days to do something about it. So I'll consider it if I can do something about the space on the ship, but I doubt it's gonna happen. The next plan of action though is sorting out some more food with a large rice field going down. The pemmican aboard the ship should last a decent while, so we don't need to rush the rice on high nutrient soil. By evening, the rice field is finished, and some more steel will be scavenged from nearby ruins. In addition to this, some steel from veins nearby will also be mined out in preparation for the west flank's defenses. A point here where a potential area within the mountain has interested me, and just in case it's hiding some rare resources, I will make an entrance into it. And we have Kiko prioritize the hidden area. It proves not to be of any importance, and we have Kiko go back to mining the steel. 2 more non-important areas are discovered, just hidden behind some wall, only being single 1-block tiles with nothing there. The peace offer that had come up an episode or 2 ago has now expired. The opportunity would have been fairly okay, but we've had a lot to do since then, and still have a lot to do. The pigskins also haven't proven to be too much of a threat so far, so the chances are we should be able to hold out against them for some time. The bunkers are near enough finished, and will be roofed to hopefully provide some better protection. While this is being completed, the large thrusters and the small thrusters on the sides of the ship will be deconstructed to make way for some upgrades to the ship's rooms and the space available. The focus of this upgrade though is going to be making the ship more livable and improving the quality of life for the colonists across the board. The first section of the plan is laid out, and it will cut into the hill route field somewhat, but we will still have more than half remaining. This should be, however, enough hill route, as we've been able to scavenge a fair amount from this map so far. The doors to exit the ship will also be moved slightly to the west in order to provide some more defensive corridors. The flooring on the north side is complete, and the south side will be started now. Also some smaller animals will be hunted down, as the amount of pemmican stored on the ship is becoming quite low. Sam falls to some extreme heat stroke and will likely be unconscious for some time. I'm unsure as to why the temperature of the ship is so much higher than the outside, but hopefully with the installation of a passive cooler it should lower Sam's heat stroke. And slowly but surely it does seem to be decreasing. The heaters have been turned off for the time being to save power, as they are not currently needed. And with Sam now back on her feet, we'll have her re-equip her legendary bottle. And now she's back on her feet, we'll have her re-equip her legendary bolt action rifle. And Crafter will retrieve his longsword from the storage hold. The amount of substructure connected to the ship has exceeded the allowed limit, and as such we will have to use the grav core, one of the grav cores within our hold, to increase this amount. However, it will be fairly expensive on our grav light panels to do this. The location doesn't really matter for the time being, as it can be moved around later, and we don't have many grav light panels left to extend the ship's upgrade. A infestation begins to occur in the new cave where the steel deposit used to be, so we will send some troops to assist the Empire and their royal tribute collector. The bugs are easily dealt with, and the Empire finishes the hives off. This should give a nice +4 mood boost to the colony for a couple of days, and potentially allow us to feast on the insect's meat, should our ideal religion allow it, and we do like insect meat. So this should further increase mood. Especially if we're able to cook all the meat into the pemmican, should the rice be ready on time. The southern rims will be built up first. We have 2 new rims, and another 2 will be built in the north. With around 60 grav light panels remaining, and some new entrances needed, the corridors will be extended on both wings of the ship, using the majority of the remaining panels. With some nearby berry bushes ready to harvest again, we will send some colonists out to harvest those, and it should hopefully allow us to cook a decent amount of pemmican before the rice becomes ready to harvest. The corridors are mostly built, and a few more additional tiles will be put in place closer to the center of the ship to allow our colonists some easier positions to defend from, and allow more spaces for colonists to defend. Crafter's mood is still fairly low. due to the much needed death rest. However, that shouldn't be a problem much longer, as the research project is nearly complete. The berries that have been assigned for harvest are being hauled in slowly but surely, and a little bit of management of the rice field is in order, as one of the bunker roofs had been messing with the growing of some of the rice plants. Some of the rock face nearby to the southern part of the ship is removed due to it being in the way of the thruster. Although I leave enough to stop enemies being able to path around this side of the ship. A transport pod crashes down not long later, but the occupant is a waster, and although their traits and skills are looking pretty decent, we don't have the psychite to help them, and we don't exactly have the room either, with all of the new rooms being built, needing to house bedrooms for more than half of the colonists, and needing to provide a death rest facility for Crafter. As such, we don't have the resources or room to take them, and will sadly be leaving them to die. The insect meat wasn't being used, and some amendments were made to the pemmican bill in order to make sure that this was no longer the case. The same will be done with the other bills, and they are looking fine. We also have a raid occurring where some pirates are dropping in on top of our colony. And we will have our colonists exit the main room of the ship until we have some better information on them. Throb will path around the research room, and luckily while the room is messy, it has allowed him to not become trapped, which is great news for us, as it gives us another fighter to deal with the raid. There are less dangerous fighters in the southern area within the kitchen, and we will have our colonists head down there. Crafter ends up filling the fire, and the colony quickly puts out the fires, and will now work on repairing the kitchen recreation room. The death rest research is finished, and once the colony has sorted the cleaning up of the ship out, it will be worked on. With the With the recreation and kitchen now cleaned up, the death rest for crafts will now be worked on. So a death rest casket will be needed, as well as some power that will need to be fed into the room. Due to the reasonably high price of the casket alone, some more steel will be mined from nearby in order to fund the construction of the rest of the room. I'm unsure of how the death rest rooms are supposed to be set up exactly, as I've not had a sanguiphage in a playthrough before, so this will be mostly trial and error. Some more hemogen packs also need to be extracted from our colonists, as crafters' supply is very low. For now, it looks like the casket itself will be enough, and we will have crafter begin their death rest. They won't be out for too long, only 3.5 days. And during this, the colony will finish up the ship and its defenses, as well as harvest the rice and most likely resow it. Some more specialized storage for Chemfu is issued near the fuel room, and the rice field is finished with its harvest and is now being resown. The colonists will also begin to hunt some of the animals on the map. The ship will now be upgraded. And we will be leaving 2 parts on the sides for large thruster spaces, and potentially fitting them in here as well, although it depends on whether we can reuse any gravlite panels from anywhere else to make the space. The doorways are going to be made into choke points as much as possible, and will have plenty of places to flank and defend from, as well as hold them in. The power for the ship will also be extended around the entirety of the ship. So, with the episode becoming rather quiet and most of the things completed for the episode, I'm going to call today's episode here. So thank you for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series so far. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.